Okay, start video. Hello everyone. Just a second. Trying to make sure that everything is available. So, what do we have? Okay, let's share it. Share. Share and post. Project part 4. You can skip this for next 5 to 10 minutes. I'm just trying to send to the viewers. So, let's go ahead. Post. Post. Part 4. Okay, I'm live. Yes, I am. Let's check this. Okay. So, who else? Let's go. Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the fourth part of advanced data scraping. So, in this part, what exactly am I trying to do? So, you should have checked the previous parts. But even if you didn't check my previous parts, this will be something new again, because in every uh, part I'm doing some different concept of extraction of data scraping. Let's see what we have done already, then we can go further. So my target is simple. Let's see. Okay, meanwhile, if you want to chat, go ahead and drop me messages in the chat, live chat. That will be a easier way how we can communicate. Okay, let's share the screen. Start share. Share the screen. Share. Okay, let's see what is our existing use case. We are trying to scrape data from a particular website, that is Fundu data. So if you see here, these are the page numbers that we have. Now from this details, we need to first extract, and along with that, we need to use orchestrator as well to maintain the status of the queues. Let's open platform.uipath.com as well. Excellent. It's already logged in. Great. So let's go with the queues. So we have two queues. One queue to extract all of these companies. Like whenever we open this page, you can see that there are around 8,140 pages that we need to extract. So these are the details that we need to add into our queue. And from here in company details, this is where we are going to extract the details of the values. But the problem that I faced yesterday was, while extracting this industry, though we have a proper structure, we are unable to extract it with respect to sub industry as well as housing commercial. So with using data scraping. So if you missed out that, see the part 3 video. So there we actually tried to capture all the details using um, what we using relative element as well, and using parent selector as well. But I found that there is a better way to do it. So what exactly we did is, let's go with extract companies, and in this extract companies, let's see with data, open folder. Okay, sub process. So this is what we require now. In this data folder, if you see data file, what do we have? We have sub industry, name of the company, URL, and industry as well. Let's see. Okay, and level of the company, level of the office, and location. So this location we may or may not extract, because this location is particularly based on the previous value that we can take. If you see in this particular data that we extracted, data input, so this should open because the name is different. Okay, this is not opening, so let's go ahead and close this. Let's open this. So what can we see here? Now we have a particular industry name, and in this industry particular details are extracted. Now in the same way, let's see with the others as well. So we have the same concept, like go to a particular industry and go to a particular location, and in that location extract all the details. So here the problem that I faced is with the industry. So few industries may have sub industry, and few industries will not have sub industry mentioned in their names. So if I just take the first four, I'm getting phone number as well. So all I need from here is industry name, sub industry, company type, level of office, and location. If sub-industry is available, then extract sub-industry. If it is not available, then eliminate sub-industry. So that's the concept. So how can we do that? See, there are multiple ways to do it. Let's see with the UiPath. Here we add, okay, this is not the project. Let's go with this one. What details can we extract from here? Main, Let it open. Okay, let's hide my camera. Let's keep it in the top right. Okay, so what are we discussing about now? So here we have a data. Now in this data file, I think I need to close this particular sheet. Let's rename this particular sheet so that we will not have any issue. uh, Data 11. So just to make sure that multiple sheets open. So when we have a particular table, we need to read each and every row, and the first item will always be name. The second item will always be the URL, but we need to see with the next items like name, URL, then industry is for sure we will get. But after that, sub-industry is what may miss. So here, if you see, uh, for few items we have company name instead of sub-industry because this doesn't have sub-industry. So how can we exactly do that? Let's see. Let's go with this project. I'm creating a new sequence for this. Extract company details in structure. So what structure are we talking about? Let's see and create. First, let's read the data table because every time we need to use data table as an input. So either we can use that directly or else, okay, let's go with read range activity. In this read range, let's keep a workbook so that this will not be changed. And I need not keep multiple items. In this, what are we writing? We have sheet one. In this sheet one, so what this is not having any headers as of now. So let's go ahead and see with the column names directly with the column names. For each row that we extract, uh, for each row which we can take here, and in this row, what do we need to take? We need to take this particular row. This is DT company details. Now in this company details, let's give DT company details here. So the first second will always be name and URL, that's for sure. So no need to worry about it. And if you see, the URL is not the company URL, it's the fundu data URL. So when we have fundu data URL, we should not use that in the end, or we should not use that particular item in the end process, because the requirement is not to get the fundu data URL but the company URL. So for that, what we can do is uh, let's create something that is that might be a data table. Yeah, we can create a data table here, uh, and also what we can do here, we have industry. If you have industry, then it's fine, but if we don't have industry, then it will be a problem again. Company name, we have company type, level of office, location, phone number. So we don't have phone number here. So if this particular row contains phone number, then we can check with the details, or else we can leave the data as is. So just a second, there is a message. Let's take it even now. Okay. what do we have in the chat? If you have any questions that you would like to ask, go ahead and drop them in the chat, live chat. That will be the easiest way, the way you can communicate with me. So here we have a data table. So how can we map it properly? So if this contains sub-industry, then we should say that, okay, if the third item is sub-industry, then we can mention that it is sub-industry. So here like this, we can mention, okay, what do we have? Let's create a dictionary with company name, and this here we'll have company name and Fundu data company URL, company URL. So these are the keys that I'm trying to keep. And sector, okay, this is the industry, and so industry also we can mention. So here what else can we mention? We can mention subcategory, sub industry, yeah, maybe sub industry. Then what else do we have? We have company type, level of office. So it's better to remove the spaces. Company type, level of office. What else do we have? Location. I think location is something that we need to extract. But again, for this location, we have a different requirement. So the location should be taken from the transaction item that we are using. So let's see how we can do that. So these are the items that we actually require. If we create a data, dictionary, again we need to convert it into a data table to add it directly into our orchestrator, or else I can use this, because while saving the data in the orchestrator we are taking one row at a time. So this actually gives us some pretty good results. So let's see, in company name, how are we going to segregate the first and the second rows? First and second columns will always be company name and company URL, and third item is also constant, which is industry. The problem is with the sub industry, which may or may not exist. Let's see, for each row we are taking, and what do we have? Let's create a send statements. Okay, let's see what do we have in add queue item. What type of data can be added in add queue item? Add queue item we have. Okay, so the problem that I am seeing here is I need to mention the name of it. I can add bulk queue items as well, bulk add queue items, which is a single shot method to add the data into the queue name. And also let's see with this one, this is called add queue item. So in add queue item we have something called item information or item collection. So what item collection can have? Okay, see, item collection can also be something like this. It can be a dictionary of string and object. So if I can just take the value, create a dictionary and pass information like this, I can do that even. So what is the best way? So let's go with the item information collection. Let's create a dictionary, dictionary underscore item info collection. This should be a data. Let's give it to dictionary. Okay. Let's go with dictionary. In dictionary, the First item should be a string, which is the key name. Second item should be an object. Let's save it, and let's also save this. So instead of adding bulk queue items, let's see what details can we create first. Okay, and here let's create a new dictionary of string comma object. So we are creating an initialization. Is it necessary? Okay, it cannot be converted into a data table. Okay, I think I need to add this here. Once we add it, we can get the correct values. Now here, let's add the proper assign statements. Multiple assign. We can use multiple assign here. So for every time that we create, what do we need to do? We need to create a company name, which is constant. So let's go ahead and create a company name here, which is on this particular item. Uh, dict dic collection information of company name. This is a key. Let's change it to dictionary. So dict collection name. So what string must end with a double quote. Let's see with the properties. Company name. So this is correct. And what data do we need to add? This row, the first item with row index dot toString will always be the URL. And the second item can be the, okay, this is the name. Okay, this is company name which we are trying to add. Next, in the same way, let's add the URL, fundu data URL for the particular company. So here we have company fundu data URL. Let's see with this particular thing, company URL, and here we can give it as row of 1. Why do we need to add row of 1? Because if you see the data here, data 11, so the first row will always be the company name, second row will be the URL, third row will be the industry. Let's go ahead and add industry here. Add, let's check with the industry in the Excel. Industry that we can keep. Let's add it here. Dict company collection info. Okay. Next, this one. So industry, even industry will be a static item that we need to add. No changes need to be made. Dot toString. Now let's add one more item. So here is what we need to check. So what do we need to add still? The next items to be added are sub industry. If it is having sub industry, then we need to add it. If it is not having sub industry, then okay. So here it goes. Okay, I can write the code like this. Let's keep a if condition here. If condition, and in this if condition, let's see what is the row of 3 dot toString if this contains sub industry dot sub industry, then what exactly can we do? We can do either like this or there is separate way, but let's continue doing like this. Sub industry of substring of if this contains sub industry, then we need to assign sub industry, or else we should not assign sub industry. The other way is to eliminate sub industry even. But if we do that, um, one idea that I have is to divide this with this column, and the first item will be a location which will be the key, the second item will be a value. That's one of the idea that I have. But again, when we have something like that, the keys will change. There will be spaces that will come, and again we need to see if the sub-industry exists or not. So let's go ahead. If this contains sub-industry, let's see what we can do. Okay, let's paste this again here. Okay, let's check. So what do we have here? One thing that I have said earlier, split it. If this contains sub-industry, then add the items with all the difficulties, or we need to split it anyhow. So here it is. Let's add SN, and here. So what are we trying to do? We are trying to create array of items here. Control K ARR of key and value. So this is what I would like to create, and here we have an array of string. So everything can be so what I'd like to say is everything can be divided since there is there is a colon that we have. So a row of, if row, okay, here it is. For every row, let's delete, or what do we have? Row 0, 1, 2, and 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 3, 4, 5, 6 is what we need to take. Row of 3 need to be checked, row of 4 need to be checked, row of 5 need to be checked. So how can we make sure that we make it dynamically to be able to access this particular item? So for that, for every column we need to divide the items. Okay, let's see how we can do that. We are having this in the row. Let's check with the columns. Let's keep it for each row again, for each item. Now in this for each item, we are not actually checking with the actual items, we are checking with the values that we have. So this has, instead of having an object, let's take this as more uh, columns. Data column, that's what I want. So data column. So what I would like to do is, first I'll take a row, and in this row, instead of using for each loop, I will create something that is not existing. Okay, let's so I can explain it in detail here. So these are the values. So we have row dot uh, row or dot item array. So item array will give me the items, continuous items. Okay, I think this should work, but even if it works, we need to add items into dictionaries. So here it is. So if we can check in the end if there is a dictionary key with sub-industry or not, but we should also see this. What do we need to see? Here we have company name. For these three, we don't have. Okay, for the first and the second items, we don't have. Uh, what don't we have? We don't have the particular key that we need to take. So how can we do that? row of item array is taking the values. The first item and second item can be added by default, but we can mention stating that these two items can be added by default. But if the index is more than 2, then actually we can check for the values. Okay, this is good. Here, column index that we are going to take. Now here, for the first and second item, we need not worry. So let's add the first and second item. Let's delete this. From the third item, so for the first item we have company name, second item we have company fund data URL. From the third item, let's split it. Let's split the values. So array of key value pair. Now in here, let's take with the item. So for each item I get dot split item dot toString dot split of, we can give column C. So here we have the values. Next, okay, so there will be two items. First one will be the key, second one will be the item. So we can add something like this. Again, we can assign, copy, and create a statement. But here we need to keep a if condition. If condition. So in this if condition, we need to check with the column index. If this column index is greater than 1, then only try with this. If the column index is greater than 1, then go ahead and work with this. Or else there is no need for us to check. Okay, we are splitting the values. So here we can take this as input for each and every item we are trying to do. Okay, what do we have? Okay, uh, dict information collection of the key should be something like um, ARR. So the first one will be the key val, and in this key val I'm taking the 0th value, so that the 0th value in here is the industry. So this will be my key, and the second item will be the value. So here again, let's remove this item. We have a key val dot of 2. I think of 1 will give us the value. Array key val of 1 dot toString dot trim. So if we trim it, then we will not have any other values. So we can take this, and what else can I get from this? Nothing. So what error do I have? One or more children have validation errors. Where do I have validation? So this add queue item. So what? Okay, here information collection. This will be the DT. Okay, so sorry, dict. Okay, we don't have the scope. Let's add the scope for this. Mm, okay, let's add scope here. Dict information collection. Let's add it to company details. So this is where we require all the company details. And here let's mention the information collection, and here let's give the reference path. So what reference can I give? I can give this as, okay, dict information collection, or else I can also use this row of 0, which is the company name. So dot toString. This is again a reference element that we will see while we are working on the queue. Let's go with the queue name here. Let's see the queue name. Extract company details is a queue name that we need to add the details. Let's add. Okay, and okay, let's see the code again. First, we are reading the range, and after reading the range, we are taking one row at a time. And after taking one row at a time, we are taking item collection, which is a columns. Now in this item collection, for the first and second items, we need not check. Okay, so I can keep it here. If I keep it here for the first and second item, it will go on the right side. If it is greater than one, it should go on the left side. So we'll have all the items. Let's save. But at the end, what else do I need to add? Okay, here it is. If, let's add an if, and in this if, let's see if dict dt, or what else I do? Row index we don't have. All we have is a value. So here we need to actually create, for each and every row we need to create this dictionary. So what I can do, I can cut this one and I can paste it here for each and every row, assign, so that I can remove all the existing items and I can paste the new items. The information collection. So here in dict, okay, dictionary, dot keys dot contains. So if I have some key with name something, what key are we missing? We have something that's missing is sub industry. If we miss sub industry, then add sub industry. That's a simple thing, that simple logic that we can add, so that this comes at the end. Let's give it a double quote. So this is a string. If this is the value, then let's assign the value, assign, and assign here. Okay, let's add dict, okay, and sub industry, and which is empty. So there is no sub industry for this particular item or company. So this is what I'm trying to do. Let's try to run this process. Maybe we can or cannot get complete values, but let's see. Even if there is an error, we can debug. But before that, I think I need to close this workbook so that it will not fail. Okay, let's save it. I can remove this one even. Don't save. Let's retry. Okay, unable to cast object of type string to data column. Okay, let's try with this item. System.data.data column. This is what I'm taking. And what do I have here? We are checking with the columns. So we can check with the index. I can give something like this. DT of company details dot columns. So it again takes the company columns, and here again we are taking with the column. So in this column we are checking with the details, but again here we will have an issue with this particular items. So here what I can do, instead of having item here, let's add something like this, row of row of. So here we have column index. So if we have column index, then we can have the values. So column index starts from 0. So item is not required now. So we can directly eliminate item and we can keep dot column index. I think that's all. That's all. Nothing else. And even in here, instead of going with row of 0, let's add column index. Anyhow, if the column index is greater than 1, we are getting the values. So no need to worry about that even. Let's go debug. Okay, it completed. I'm not sure if it added all the values from the queue. Let's see the transactions. We have only two transactions. What about the remaining items? Do I have any error? I think I need to check it here. Output. We don't have any items. Why is it so? Okay, let's go and open this. I think the problem is, okay, the problem should not be the name of the file. We are reading sheet 1. What do we have in the if condition? Okay, I can check this out. For each row, I need to add the item. So I can collapse this. Okay, so this should be inside this if loop, and add queue item should also be inside. So what exactly are we trying to do? If column index is greater than 1, then add the values. And here in this, we are checking if it contains sub-industry. And finally, we are writing. I think this should be the correct way to write the data to queue. Let's try again. I think I need to close this, retry. Let's go meanwhile to our orchestrator queues. We have the items. Okay, let's check now. Even now it wrote only 2 items. Let's see. View details. Okay. Company name we have. Undo data URL we have. What details is it taking? First and the second one. These two details it is taking. A3M and ABB. So okay, these two values it's taking, and for the third one it's failing. Let's debug and see why it's failing for the third one. Output from third. Okay, the process cannot access the file because it is being used. Okay, after this we stopped and we took everything from here. Okay, let's go and let's try to keep this debug breakpoint, and let's close this. Let's debug. Okay, this is the first item. DT company details. Why it is extracting only 2 items? Company details. Do I have any restriction here? Okay. Okay, this is the problem. Understood. So I need to remove the range. Since it's having a specific range, it's extracting only 2 items. But let's see. View details, undo data, specific content. But why it did not add that particular value? So if it contains, then we are asking it to add. So this should be changed. If this contains this, then don't add anything. But if it doesn't contain, then let's add some data. Okay, let's run the file. We have the values. We have them. But if you're seeing here, I think I'm getting the same data multiple times. This is BMM. Okay, let's stop. Okay. And let's see the data that we have in Excel. Okay, what data do we have? Bitcoin. Why are we having same data in multiple iterations? Why is it not updating? Mangalore. So reference we are taking. Okay, I think there is some error. It's updating new items, but it is updating multiple times. Company sub industry we have. Okay, close. And where do we have this particular add queue item? So this is where we have an issue. So are we adding it to for row for each row? Okay, we don't. Okay, let's cut this and let's add it here. Okay, I do have a message. Let me check the message. Okay. Let's see with the URL which we have. For this to execute properly, let me remove all the items. I think we can remove all the items. Yes. Okay. Status new. Okay, I cannot do it like this. So the best way to do it is extract company details. We have 79. Delete, remove. Yes. Add a new queue item. Queue name. Add. Now let's run the code and let's see if this executes properly or not. Ideally, we should have how many data items? We should have 20 data items. 20, yeah, 21. So this is not having any column name. Let's run the file. Run file. Here we have a company detail sheet. Let's go ahead and close this one. Don't save. I think we need to run this again. Debug. Let's see with the values. We have this particular item. View transactions. One item is executed. Two, three. I don't think it is taking more time, but it is, since it is running in debug mode, we are having less results in short span. But once we have the bot executed, then we'll have more data. Let's add 5 more items, then let's continue. So what do we have now? Okay, we have close to 13 items. Let's stop this and let's continue, or let's see with the data for which we get from here. View details. What do we get? We have company name, Fundu company URL, sub industry we have. If the industry is missing, then we need to have this as empty. Location, Bangalore. So these are the locations that we have. Bangalore, Karnataka. Okay. So before adding the items into a different process, we need to change this location. So we'll also do that. Let's see and let's complete the process first. For this to execute, we need to create one more RE framework code. Because till here, what did we do? We did only extraction of items and placed it in the queue. Now we need to extract the items from the queue and run the process and add it to a separate data sheet. Okay, we have close to 14 items. Let's go into the project, home. Meanwhile, why don't we complete this particular item? I think instead of read range, if we can keep one row at a time, I think that also will work. So for each row, we need to extract or scrape the items. Okay, let's see. What are we getting? So from here, we are going to get a table, and what does this table do? Let's go. Let's see. In the process, open workflow. So extract companies taking input queue, import arguments. What does this have? This have a city and a name. So all it gives out is open workflow. It should give me a data table at the end because it's extracting the table. So here we are appending the range, but what else can we do is, so transaction table is what we can take. Company details table out, table. This should be an auto argument, and this should be a data table. Okay, and let's assign whatever the structured data that we have out. Okay, let's assign it. Okay, to this particular item out, company details data table to extracted data table. So before doing extraction, let's keep it to new data table so that there shouldn't be any columns or any rows, but the extraction completes and we have a new data every time. Let's save it, and this gives us a data table, company details. Control K, DT company details. Here, uh, extract company details in structure. This is what we need to do. So extract company details in structure. And if we have a row, then it will add. If we don't have any rows, then it will not add. But we need to send the complete data table here. So let's send or take it as an input argument. Instead of reading it from here, let's take it as an in argument, in underscore dt company details. So this is a data table again. Now if this contains data, then we can do that. Let's delete and let's assign so that we need not change all the variables which may or may not come in future. DT company details. So let's add this to DT in company details. So if this has rows, then add it. If it doesn't have any rows, then I think it can continue. Okay, let's see with the transaction item. So what transaction items can I add to this? There is something called output for every transaction. View details, history, output data. We also have something called output data. So we need to add output data as well if we want. to this particular item. Okay, let's go and let's see with the items. Okay, we have this particular rows which we take. Now in this particular rows, what do we have? We have the company name and the values. Let's see the input. Here we can give data table, company details. So this is the input data type. Okay, and after everything gets completed, it will directly exit. But the problem that I can see here is, if the data is already, let's say that there are around 100 rows that are already extracted, there is no way where we can track it. But that's fine for now. Let's go ahead and add the values. So here we are extracting only 20 items. So there are two queues that we are working on: extract companies and extract company details. So in extract companies, we have view transactions. We don't have any items, successful in progress or something. So let's go back and run this bot. So this bot, which I already have, add data to queue, this will go ahead and add the values. So this particular queue, and from this queue, a bot should start, and from the next queue, some other bot should start. Okay, let's see. I think the bot completed its process. Now let's stop it. It may extract more items, but for now, let's stop and let's see the values here. We have two new items. So when we run this bot, it should pick up those two items and it should extract those values and place them in this particular where. Okay, I should place them. It should place them in this particular queue. So this is something like a chaining of process, where first we'll add data to this. After extracting completion of this process, we'll add data to this, and this is the last step. Okay, so let's go ahead and run this bot and let's see this one. And let's debug the process. Hope everything runs properly. Debug. We have given the proper queue name even. It should go and select items. Yeah, it selected items. So these are the list of manufacturing industries in Bangalore. Then it should go and fetch a different item. Okay. Now we have electrical and electronics, a list of manufacturing companies. Okay. Let's see what data do we get after this. I think after extracting 20 items, it should stop and it should add the values to the queue. That's all it should do. But it should extract or it should add it in a specific format that we mentioned. So I think the bot process is completed. Okay, it's still adding the values. But by the time, let's see how many values are added. We already have 14. Extract company details. Okay. Let's see the input here. If executing, so adding the queue items, I'm sure this is adding something to which one? Extract company details. So let's go ahead and see extract company details. This is the one. Let's refresh. We have details now. Okay, we have 23 values that are added. If you see the view transactions, now we can have multiple items. Let's see with one of the item view details. Now yeah, we have company name, Fundu data URL. Okay, the problem here I'm seeing is the company name is not coming properly. For both, I'm getting the same item. Okay, I think I get it now. Let's close this. Let's stop the process. I hope we added multiple items. So if you see in this and in this, we have two SN statements. So here there should be something. It should be something different because company name, after adding it to company name, it is going and adding the value to this. So here something, what do we need to keep? Let's keep a switch statement. Switch, and in this switch, let's add index, column index. If we have column index, let's, okay, control Z. By default, it should not do anything, but case, we have 0 and case 1. We have only two cases, case 0 and case 1. And in these two cases, let's add the values. Copy, paste, and for case 1, that is a URL, let's add the value here. And even now, here, Control X, Control V. Let's save it. And now for this particular item, let's copy this and paste it again. Let's add this value to here. Let's take this particular item. So this is the company name that we need to add. So this is something like a segregation so that we can map 0th index only to one item and first index to a different item. Let's close, save. So row index we have, and case 1 we have column index. Okay, two strings, two items that we are checking, but that's fine to check for two items. Let's save it and let's continue. So prior doing that, let's delete this extract company details values, and let's create a new queue again. Remove, yes. Let's add a queue name. Okay, let's save it. So here already we have one particular item remaining, so let's try with that. Maybe it can extract the values. Run file. Now the process runs faster. Okay, it should select one particular item. Let's see, all industries, all service industries. We have only one item, good to have. So this should stop after the first item. It stopped, and we should have one item here in this particular view transactions. So here we have one item, and here we have view details. We have company name proper, sub industry done. What do I have? Fundu company URL. Okay. Industry we have, company type we have, level of office we have, location we have. So here there is a requirement like Location should not be like this. It should be from a different column. Okay, so I can take something like this. Okay, while extracting the values, we can also send open workflow. What can we send? We can send transaction item of location. So city name is what is required, which is different from the one that we have extracted. So let's copy this city name and let's take it as an in argument here. Assign in underscore city name. Okay. So this city name, before adding every item, let's add an assign statement. So there is something called location which you are checking, but the city name is different from the location. So let's go ahead and add something called location. Dict item and city name. So this should be the city name and in city name. Simple process. Now when we try to add, we will also get the location as well as the city name so that we can use it in the next stage. And what again can we do? Let's debug this process again once so that two new items gets added to this particular queue. Queues, extract companies. Let's see. Okay, let's wait. We have two items. Let's stop this. Yes. And let's see with the items that we are extracting from this particular item. So here in this particular process, it's taking multiple items, data structure. So in this process, what data is it extracting? It's extracting this particular data and it's storing 20 results. Let's give it, okay, let's keep it as 20 and let's run this workflow so that this runs faster. So what do we have from here? So if you have here, if you see here, there is one item, view transactions, and this is with A Royal Residency, but this is having an issue, like it's having a location instead of city name. So we added city name here. Let's go ahead and run this file. Run file. Now the data should be added. First, it should fetch the values from a different location or different queues, and it should add the values to a different place. Okay. We should have 20 results, and the 20 results should be added into the queue, and then it should go into service sector. Then after extracting service sector details, it should add the values directly. Okay, now it has service. Fine, let's see with the output. So the output is from the orchestrator again. What do we have? So here again we have ARR, which is the last item that's added. But here if you see, now we have industry, sub industry also we have, company name we have. What else do we have? Budget hotels, Fundu data company URL, location, and city name. City name is null. Why? Because I think I did not send in the city name here. Let's go and open this workflow. Import arguments. Yes, I did not send the value. So import arguments. Let's copy this item specific content from where we are getting the city name. Let's add this value here. I thought it will give me an error. if I don't send in any value, but it sent it as a exception. So let's go and add the value again to orchestrator. Let's give it some time so that the values are added. In meanwhile, let's go ahead and delete this particular values. Okay, I think we should have two items. It's taking time, let it take. Okay, and remove this. Yes, let's add this particular value. Let's add. Okay, let's refresh. Why is it not coming? Less than a minute ago. We should have some values. View transactions. Okay, we have two new items. Let's stop this. Yes, and let's see from here. How do we get it? Okay, main run file. First thing I can do is close all windows. Okay, it will fail because, okay, let me quickly add fundu data URL. Fundu data. Let's see if it can pick because it's not at 30 seconds. We closed that particular browser. Unexpected closure. Let's see. Output. Opening the applications. Okay, it's failed with opening the applications. So let's stop it and let's run again. Run the file. We have the application open and we should have the selector done. Okay. And it should go with the next item if it completes. Okay. Let's save it and let's check with the input that we have. We have 14 items, but we should have more view transactions. So we had 21, which is the correct number. And let's see with the details. Okay, Serencoli is the value that we expect. Let's close and let's continue with the next bot or next process. Let's go here, home, new, RE framework, project. Let's give a proper location for this subprocess. And this subprocess, extract mobile number, and what else do we need to extract? Extract mobile URL and address. Address underscore. So this takes from where? Uh, from this queue name, company, extract company details queue name. Let's give here so that even though we have bigger name, we can understand what take input from company details, and process data, store it in Excel. It's simple. Okay. So the first and foremost thing that we need to do, go into the config, add the config value. So this is the key name that we are trying to do. Keep it as a text. Since we added everything, there is nothing that we need to change. Let's go directly into process. But here is something that we need to update in init all applications, but that init all applications, we can copy it from this particular workflow. Framework, init all applications, copy. Since this already have some data, so okay, where do we have that? Sub process. Okay, let's cut this and paste it here. Sub process. Let's close this one so that this gets copied. Try again. So again, this is a fresh project. We are starting from the beginning, but we need to take input from a different QNAME. So that we already added here. Simple thing that we need to do is let's go back and go into input data framework init all applications. Let's copy this and let's go with the sub process init all applications framework. Let's add the value, replace. Now if I go ahead and check with the main process, let's see what data did it fail, or how do we get the data exactly from a particular URL. So the code we already have, we can take it from this particular project, sub process, extract company details. No, it doesn't have any data. So from to data. So extract details runner, extract company details. Okay. Extract companies and extract company details. So this is what we need to take. Process. So these are the company details that we actually require. Take this, refresh. Now in this extract company details, what input should it have? We need to navigate to a company URL. So we are navigating it, and out should be our company address, mobile, and a company URL. Simple. Now let's go into the process. So I'm not changing anything in RE framework now. This is the beauty of using RE framework again. And let me just drag and drop the modular code that I took. And here, this company, okay. So in this company details, what should I add? In transaction item dot specific content, and in the specific content, let me add the key name. So what is the key name that we have? The key name that we are trying to access is from here, view details, fundo data company URL. So this is the key name and this is the URL that we have. So only one input is sufficient for this and we will be able to extract all the values. Dot toString, and from here we will get str company address. Or company address should be address. And what else do we have? We have str mobile number. Now what else? Company URL str company URL. So all three, if we get all three, then this should work for us. Let's save. So again here we this is not a problem, but this is where we need to create a file and give it as an output. So what we can exactly do is let's create a let's build a data table. But even if we try to build a data table, we need to have all the columns. Let's build a data table. So while building on this data table, let me leave this as column 1 and column 2, because anyhow I am appending the values string. Okay, so we also need to have something called industry. I think we missed that in the first process, because if you see in the industry, what industry does it have? Okay, industry, we have hotels and restaurants, so I need not worry about hotels and restaurants. Okay, but the drop down is different that it checked. Company URLs. Okay, let's see how we can do this. So hotels industries, we can have it from here. Let's see with how much data or how many columns do we need to extract. Subprocess data. So the first one should be company name 1. I can eliminate or I can remove this Pandu data URL because this is not required. But let's keep it. That's fine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So altogether I need 10 columns from this. So let's go ahead and create 10 columns with string 1, 2, 3, 4. So if it is asking name, let's give it a name, proper name. Okay. So we have name, URL, industry, okay, and sub industry. If it has sub industry, then take sub industry. Sub industry, okay. Next one, company type, okay. Sub industry, company type. Level of office, location, office, location. What else do I require? I require city, and address should be at the end. URL, mobile number, URL, and address. Mobile number, mobile should be fine. Company URL, okay. And in this, let's add something. What else do we need to do? We need to have address, company address. That's it. So here it is. Let's change this one even. Let's go with company name. Okay. And let's go ahead and change this. Here, what do we have? Company name and Pandu data, company URL. Let's save it. If we have company name and all the details are extracted, let's go ahead and add a data row. So here we have company details table. Now in this company details, I need to add all the values, whichever I extracted till now. Okay, mm, here it is. We can directly add array. So in this array, what do we have? So in transaction item, we have, so in this transaction item, we have the company URL from here, company name, Control Z, dot specific content of key dot toString, comma. And so this is the best way I can make it more viewable. I can keep it here. Next, fundu data URL, fundu data company URL. So let's keep an underscore. And what else? Sub industry. Okay, let's go with what? Control Z, copy, paste. What else do we have? First, we need to have industry, sub industry. Okay, let's add industry here, sub industry here. Let's add multiple items at once and let's debug. So, sub industry, we do have company type, level of office, location. Company type, which is this, level of office is this. Finally, we should have location and city name. If we add all all of these items, location and control K, location, city name, then we need to add three more items. Location. So this demo will be completed in next 5 minutes. Location, city name. Let's check with the company URL which we are extracting. So we can eliminate or we can remove this one because we got all the values. Str company mobile number. Here we'll have str company URL. In the same way, let's get company address. Company address. So we extracted all the items and there is something. Okay. What is it throwing another expression expected? Yeah, of course it will expect an expression. So if we can remove this comma at the end, I think that should work for us. In we got all the values. We got all the values, and we added that to a data table. Now in this data table, let's give the DT company details, and here before creating this, let's build a new data table. Okay, this we are already building a data table, so we not worry about it. Let's add it into a add append range. We already have it here. In this particular item, attach a browser, navigate, assign everything, mobile. Let's add append range. One final step, the process will be completed. Data.xlsx, and here in this we write DT company details. That's it, nothing else. And let's run this process. Close main. Let's see if all the values are properly assigned. Okay, now we have that particular item. Let's close this and let's go to the main process. This should have open workflow, edit selector. It should fail now, but let's see. Main debug. Navigate it to a particular URL, then navigate it to company URL. Let's see with some, if we have any error, then it should stop. Attached browser is executing. Yeah, I know that this will fail because here in attached browser we have something called blank, which is throwing an error. Let's delete this. Validate. Now it validated. Now the company URL works fine. In this particular sequence, we will have one item which is in progress because just now we started. But let's start this plot again. Prior to that, let's close this item. Let's run the file. Okay, I think I missed something. Let's see in process. Am I appending? Append data range is working. So this should work. Okay. Navigating it to a particular URL. Extract details. Right. Super. Bharat Electronics. Let's work for two more items and let's see with the output, and let's close this webinar. Bitcoin Limited. Let's see for one more item. Bosch. Let it complete. Let it navigate. Let's stop. So the data that we have will be in data.xlsx. Okay. Data.xlsx should be the file. Refresh. We should have an error here. Screenshot saved. Add data row. given key was not present in the dictionary. Which key is it talking about? Okay, fine. Let's stop this. Anyhow, let's stop this for here and let's continue in the next webinar. Stop live.